Hey, I hope you had a good week. In this question and answer session, I'll be answering 4 questions that have been sent in to me via YouTube and Twitter. But just before I start off, I'd like to say a massive thank you to Stephen Fry and Dr. Christian Jessen for tweeting my YouTube page on their Twitter. I'm so massively thankful for the help that you guys have done for me because it has helped to direct people to my YouTube channel, and from the response that I've gotten, it's been relatively useful for them. If any other celebrities would like to tweet my YouTube page, I'd be more than happy for you to do so. You know, if you think about it, typing in 140 characters or less to potentially help one person or more is so worth it. So yeah, let's start off with this question and answer session. The first question that I've got in is from someone asking, how did I tell people that I had an eating disorder? And the answer is I didn't really. I didn't know that I had an eating disorder until 2 days before my admission to the inpatient unit that I stayed at. But, you know, speaking from my experiences, people knowing that I had an eating disorder was so much better than when they didn't. You know, I speak to my friends now and they said to me, you know, we did know that there was something wrong, there was something mentally wrong with you. But we found it kind of awkward to approach you about it because, you know, we've been talking amongst each other behind your back. And therefore, if we came to you, you would have thought that, you know, we would have been talking about you behind your back. So by simply saying to your friends, to your family that you might have an eating disorder, it will normally bring them relief. They will say, okay, good, okay, now we can help you. But, you know, the other thing that this person's been saying is it makes the eating disorder more real. Your eating disorder was real to begin with. You know, just by saying it doesn't make it any more real than it already is. It may bring about a stigma if you think like that, but if you think about it, by saying to your friends, I think I have an eating disorder and I want your help, you know, the impression that you'll get from your friends is so much better than just you hiding away. You're saying that you want help, and therefore the stigma doesn't really matter. You know, if you have a life-threatening condition, you should try and do everything and anything that you can to get over it. The other thing that this person said was by saying that you have an eating disorder acknowledges your own failure. You're not highlighting a failure by saying that you have an eating disorder. You know, but if anything, you're more strong by saying that you have it and saying that you want help. So yeah, it all comes down to that. You have to realise that you want help, and therefore you need to tell other people. The next question that I got from someone is from a male who thinks that he's becoming anorexic, and he's linked it to a few things that have happened in his past, namely separating from his wife, and also a physical condition that he had, I think maybe a year ago. When I was becoming anorexic, I always linked my weight loss to my appendectomy, when my appendix got inflamed and needed to be surgically resected. This is a common thing with male anorexics, and just generally males with eating disorders. They'll try and link it to something that's physically wrong with them, but they will also realise that there is something mentally going on with them. So, you know, it's rarely the case that anorexia is caused by a physical disorder. You know, I've only known one person who thought they had anorexia, was sent into the inpatient unit where I was, and it turns out that they had a metabolic disorder. In your case, the person who's answered this question, you've identified that the separation from your wife might have been a triggering factor. And this goes for anyone who has realised a triggering factor. If you realise that this might be the case, I highly recommend you to go and talk to someone about it. And as I said before, it might help you realise that it has linked to your eating disorder. As well as this person's been saying that in their area there isn't much support for people with eating disorders. And this is quite a common thing that a lot of people have been saying to me, and I'm sorry that I didn't realise this, but it turns out getting therapy is quite difficult. With this video, I'll be posting a number of links to a lot of charities that dedicate themselves to helping people with eating disorders. Most of them have their own helplines, so if you phone them, you'll often be put through to a regional office that is near to where you live. And not only will these people give you direct advice, but they will often give you sort of links to people in your area that you thought never existed. So yeah, I'll post them below. Um, I'll try and post as many as I can for as many countries as I can. But, you know, I can't get them all, I'm really sorry. The next question I got was from someone saying, how did I stop thinking about gaining weight while I was in treatment? And, you know, this was really difficult for me. You know, not only do you know that you're gaining weight by eating, you know, more than you're accustomed to, but you see it. It's really difficult to try and help you with that. But the thing that I did was I voiced my concern to my family, to my friends, and also to my therapist. And again, as I said before, they help you rationalize these thoughts. And as well as this, I always try to put off my eating disorder thoughts by doing things that I knew I enjoyed. You know, I've said this before in previous videos. It's included playing video games, you know, model making, playing the guitar. And I promise you, if you do these things that you really do enjoy, not only will you take your mind off your eating disorder, you'll also bring in more positive thoughts that will help you at the end of the day. As well as this, another thing that I haven't talked to you about before, because I've only just realised it myself, is that a very good thing for you to do to keep in a positive mindset while you're going through this transition is to try and keep in contact with as many people as you can that have a positive influence in your life. And this was a very common thing that I saw when I was in the inpatient unit. You know, I'd see my friends writing letters to their friends, to their family, and also arranging phone calls with them. And, you know, this necessarily wasn't them just to say, you know, I'm venting at you, you know, can you help me? You know, it was very normal things that they were saying, you know, how's the dog, how's everything going for you at home? You know, are you still doing karate? These kind of things, it makes you bring yourself back into the real world that you know that you should be in. And if you do these kind of things, you'll realise that gaining weight isn't really an important factor while you're going through your treatment. And, you know, if you start to do these things, you'll begin to realise it yourself. The last question is a very, very general topic, and it is, how did I find success in my treatment? Because the person who asked this isn't finding anything. They're not being able to rationalise their thoughts in therapy. They're not being able to find these sort of positive mindsets during their treatment. Just to put it into context, this person has been in treatment for 6 weeks and has been going to therapy for 1 year. Yeah, it's very difficult to say how I found success in my treatment, but I did a lot of things, and, you know, I've said this before in previous videos, so I highly recommend that you look at them. They'll tell you of things, you know, looking to the future, looking to what I have now, doing things that help me keep happy, those kind of things. The biggest thing that you have to realise when you go to a treatment, I surrendered myself to the will of the nurses, to the doctors, to the therapists. You can't try to hold on to all of these bits of control. You have to realise that you have to lend it to them because they know what they're doing. And although you don't think they do, you know, you might think that you're unique. The nurses, the doctors, they've seen a lot of similar cases. And it just takes you a moment to realise that, and, you know, you'll be off, you'll be fine. Also, the other thing, you know, they were finding it very difficult to rationalise their thoughts in therapy. And, you know, this is a problem that I was having, and it was because we were coming at the problems from what I thought was the wrong angle. So I'll give you an example. When I was having my OCDs, you know, I was continuously washing my hands with a very strong soap, and this meant that my hands were becoming cracked. So I'd go to my therapist and I'd tell them, you know, this is happening to me. And I didn't really know why. You know, I just thought, you know, I'm just washing my hands. It's quite normal. And the first thing that the therapist said to me was, well, this is bad. You know, the detergent in the soap is causing your skin to crack. And I thought, well, yeah, of course. but that wasn't helping me rationalise the thought. It was only by, I think, maybe the third therapy session that she said to me, oh, you know, this might be you trying to seize control because you are losing it to food while you're in the inpatient unit. And I thought to myself, oh, you know what, yeah, this might be it. And maybe a week later, I stopped washing my hands completely because I realised that it wasn't helping me. So yeah, just try and come at your problems from different angles, and you might find one that works for you. Okay, so that's the end of my video. I will see you next week.